Queensland left to right, and the greatest game of all. Episode 95 becomes a reality in front of 84,000 people. And millions around Australia and the globe, and Tim Grant with a magnificent opening exclamation to his Origin career. Oh, the Panther got the job done.
I have never seen Petro Civoniceva put on his backside like that.
Gallen took the second. He said he'd play just like a prop anyway. And so it's the Blues on their own 30-metre line. They run towards the north to the river end of ANZ Stadium, and that is Tamo on the red line. Magnificent start to the six from Tim Grant, and then the kick from Carney taken by Slater. Surely, oh, look at that defence from the Blues. Surging defence. Full of enthusiasm. Surely Billy couldn't have a game that replicated Melbourne. Brent Tate feeling the wrath of the Blues defence.
Well, Billy Slater went very, very close to losing it as Dave Taylor takes the ball forward with his head wrapped in bandage. Cooper Cronk down the short side, he's through.
Cronk with a dummy, and then he sprints down the ground. New South Wales now regrouping down at the southern goal mouth. And it's Brett Stewart who's taken by Jonathan Thurston, resting up against the pads. Jared Hayne falling in, taking this play. The ground shot from the dead ball line shows Glenn Stewart now taking it out 11 metres from his line. Cronk just sized through them. Tim Grant again. Now James Tamo out to the 30-metre line. So Series 31 into its second game. And Pearce it is that drives it down to bounce onto the knees. Down there of Darius Boyd. Can't buy a try for Newcastle. 2 tries in Melbourne. 8 tries in all at Origin level. Thurston for Inglis. And Greg will be put down by Josh Morris, who did a good job for the most part in Melbourne in defence. Blindside run for Harrison now. One of only 2 Queenslanders in the 17 that haven't worn the national colours. On the Blues 40-metre line now. The opening exchanges of Origin 2 and Petro in his 32nd appearance. Only Lockyer and Langer have played more games of Origin. Knock on Thurston. Pressure put on them by the Blues.
I rang New South Wales coach Ricky Stewart this afternoon just to see how the nerves were, and he said to me, he said, I feel like going down and experiencing everything that they will experience. Wonderful, wonderful atmosphere here at ANZ tonight.
Morris then with a delayed play of the ball, and the Blues are back on their 40-metre line with James Tamo taking it up towards the halfway line. And here's Robbie Farah coming away to go to Mitchell Pearce and then get it on to Greg Bird. And the Gold Coast Titans second. He's lost the ball, but it's a steal. It's a penalty to New South Wales.
Taylor, leave the ball.
First of the game.
It's a very hard temptation to resist. The ball was sitting there. David Taylor, he couldn't help himself. He had a play at it. Greg Bird, it's poor ball security, but there were plenty in the tackle. And has earned a penalty.
Watch the enthusiasm of the Blues attack here against a Queensland team that are pretty determined to hang out as well. Is it experience versus youth?
Grant again with a very strong run. He's been inspirational early. Gallen comes back and goes back to Greg Bird, and Bird, who was magnificent in Melbourne, who played the ball 13 away from the Queensland line. Pearce goes away to Tamo, standing out at second receiver, running off a pivot. Now he'll play the ball 5 metres away from the Queensland line, down at the northern end. Pearce turns it in. Bird is with the ball, gets it away for Brett Stewart. Up from fullback. Almost sliding out of the tackle, a desperate tackle there by Cameron Smith, in fact, and Petro. Now it's come away for Carney. He rolls it in. It's too deep. 20. Back to the 20 comes sprinting Darius Boyd.
Yeah, that's an easy release of pressure there as Darius Boyd races up to take the restart. They did not get a line drop out in Melbourne. Queensland got 3. That keeps pressure on. New South Wales have to do better in that department.
Ashley Harrison, his 14th Origin, been one of the benchmarks that they've built this dynasty upon. There's only a handful of them that have been there since 2006. Smith away for Thurston, and Thurston is put down a couple of metres into New South Wales's half. Now comes to Cronk, and he just puts it up on the belly button there of David Taylor. 122 kilos of him, head bandage, fell out of bed during the week. Now Cronk it is that puts it high down towards Uate. Ooh, he only just held that. It almost went straight through. Greg Inglis making the tackle. Now across to Brett Stewart.
Yeah, it's another one of those really flat bombs by Cronk. He kicks it in the middle of the ball. It doesn't spin, it doesn't gyrate, it just comes down flat and swerves at the last minute. We saw a number of those for the Melbourne Storm this year. It's a very effective bomb.
Good Bird again with a run, and here's Gallen again with another carry. And then he's able to offload, and Farrow sees something over on the right. And I think it was there, actually, had he had gone there. Carney's with the ball. Plays it on the 30-metre line. I think it needed an outside ball rather than an inside ball, to be honest with you. Glenn Stewart, Josh Morris and Uate had put 3 numbers on 2. Now the kick clearing from New South Wales. And here is Brent Tate. This wonderful campaigner. I can never think of the right words to describe the man's love and passion of this game, to be down the avenue that he has, injury-wise, and still be able to participate at the pinnacle of our game. Penalty goes to Queensland, so it's 1-1 off the whistle of Arthur.
He stays the second. But every tackle 11 or 12 metres. I'll have a look.
Yeah, totally agree on Brent Tate. He is one of the most competitive footballers that I have ever seen, and certainly one of the more courageous.
I'm sure you would remember, Gus, the game where he had what it looked like it was the end of his career. He was in the dressing sheds after once again coming up with a very serious injury. He said at that occasion, at this very ground, that he was about to give it away. That's it, no more football. Well, you can see what courage and determination means to a footballer.
There's Matthew Scott taking it up to the 30-metre line, and he'll play the ball. And oh gee, that's a scrum. That's a scrum. That's a mistake by Matthew. It's about to make the point about he's had some
I lost the ball there, but you're not going.
sickness in the family, for which he was
But you're going earlier.
given leave to go back home. And I was about to make the comment, he'd be struggling to get his mind into the right space for tonight, and then he makes a knock on at his first carry.
Yeah, it's a very uncharacteristic mistake, no doubt about that, but he took his time. He was actually in a really good position to play the football, and it still popped out. And you could see the reaction from the New South Wales players. Slapping again. There's strong tackle there on Jared Hayne from Justin Hodges.
Hayne standing 2 in from the left, and Jennings, this man, was standing on the wing on that occasion. Played then by Michael. One-handed pick-up by Robbie Farah. It mightn't be such a good idea in conditions like this, but he got away with it then. Takes it 7 metres into Queensland's area. Carney drifting, turning it in. Glenn Stewart's with the ball. And this outstanding back rower from Manly. His brother is at the back of the New South Wales side, and Farah kicks, and what a take by Tate. He was down on the boundary, and the referee has said play on, and rightly so. Tate is with the ball. So it is Thurston who's crabbing across the ground, taken by Carney. Let's have a look at this. There was a roar went from the crowd. Well, that's a tackle. I've got to take that back. That was a tackle.
Brent Tate should have allowed himself to go over the sideline because he would have got a penalty out of that.
Yeah, but the man was on the ground with the ball, and there was a hand placed on him. That's a tackle. Then there looked like a second dip by Hayne. Here's Nate Miles now, who is somewhat of a lucky charm for Queensland. 75% of times that he's worn maroon, and they have won. Charged down by Bird, the ball goes spewing away, and Darius Boyd pops it back to Billy Slater, and Slater is taken by Glenn Stewart. Just on the Queensland side now. And here is Ashley Harrison. And Harrison will play this ball. Over on the eastern side of the ground. And here's Matt Scott again. He'll play this quite deliberately and with a lot of purpose. And it's come away from the dummy half to Cronk and then to Thurston, and they put decoys around. And eventually Hodges is taken. Bird again was right up in their face. Bird is playing at 100 miles an hour, and this kick has gone ricocheting across over to Gallen, but it comes out, and it's a penalty to New South Wales. 2-1 the penalty count their way now.
Well, I'd love that all over again, Queensland. It was not the last tackle. Cooper Cronk really at 6s and 7s there and kicked it straight into the New South Wales player, and at the end of it, the side gave away a penalty, so a pretty ordinary set there from Queensland. This is it's only the 4th tackle. He's trying to put it over the sideline to settle things down, but straight into Michael Jennings, and now New South Wales.
Back here, boys.
Good football here, 45 metres out from the opposition with a full complement.
I think it's really positive that Jared Hayne defended up and in there. That's how you've got to defend on this field against Queensland. You've got to come up and bustle those centres before they get momentum.
Grant again with a run, and significantly Sivanasiva went low on that occasion. At the start of the game he went high, and he came out of it second best, the big fellow. Farah going to Bird, and Bird across the back of the ruck, and he was probably hopeful of linking up with Brett Stewart. The ball is loose, it's play on for Queensland, and Greg Inglis is with the ball, but he's taken over there by Glenn Stewart, the number 11, and it's come from Thurston and gone then to Boyd in those flashy boots over on the left side. On the right side of New South Wales' defence, Smith scooping it up to Sivanasiva. That's a good run by Petro. He's announced that this is it. The end of this series is the end of State of Origin for Petro Sivanasiva. He'll rack up 33. Here's Brett Stewart under pressure. He's lost the ball, and Queensland have scored, have they? No, they've had an air swing.
Why did Dave Taylor try and pick it up? All he had to do was put his hands on the football.
Well, they're going to examine it.
The ball was over the line.
That is extraordinary. A couple of Queensland players simply had to dive on the ball, and it was 4 points in the bank.
Well, it was a better kick from Cooper Cronk, and the Chasers made it an outstanding one. Look at the effort here from Justin Hodges and Brent Tate. Greasy conditions. Brett Stewart picks it up, tries to get back in the field to play, the contact and the impact. Now, all Dave Taylor has to do is take his time and put his hands on it. Certainly did not need to pick it up. Great work from Brent Tate. Forces the ball out. Out it comes again. It's missed by Jonathan Thurston. Justin Hodges scrambling to get there. And Dave Taylor. He obviously...
I'm not so sure that Brett Stewart wouldn't be claiming that he actually forced the ball.
Well, he doesn't want them to rule that because they've got possession instead. I agree, Rabbits. I think that Stewart gets downward pressure there. But whether they'll allow play to roll on.
I guess by saying what I am, I'm taking a bit of the heat away from David Taylor. But watch here. He regathers the ball. No, he doesn't. But then he forces it there.
Yep.
That's enough. That's enough for a forced ball.
Yeah, good call.
So Dave Taylor, and Peter's dead right. But given that this has happened, that really makes no difference at all. I don't quite know where they're going on that far.
And the big man rests easy after watching the video, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There was probably two things from New South Wales there. Forcing the ball also, but it did appear as though Stewart also knocked it on. But that's a get-out-of-jail card free for the Blues.
No doubt about it.
Here we go. Let's go, mate.
So line dropout will restart us. But that's David Taylor, isn't it? That is David Taylor.
Make sure you're on behind the line, Jared.
You got to love him.
He's left it dead down in the ground like he did next to the bed.
So here's the line dropout coming down to Thurston. And Petro Sivanasiva goes back towards the 30-metre line. Harrison there for duty. Cronk getting it away to Miles. 3 of the Titans in the side, and Miles got up rather gingerly. Here's Taylor now. 25 metres out from the Blues line. He'll be keen to do something. Hodges. So Justin Hodges will play the ball in the middle of the ground, 15 metres away from the line. Cameron Smith goes around, goes behind one, goes to Thurston. He looks for Inglis and finds Inglis, but New South Wales put numbers in there. 3 of them, in fact. Glenn Stewart, Robbie Farah, Josh Morris. Smith away, Thurston to the boot. There's the kick in towards the uprights, and Brett Stewart has saved the day, but the arm has gone up. The arm has gone up for a penalty. Billy Slater inside the 10, I think it was. He was in front of the kicker. You can't come inside the 10-metre perimeter.
Yeah, but the play before that is where New South Wales got in trouble down in Melbourne. Josh Morris coming up a long way and in, not making the tackle, and Jonathan Thurston looking to take advantage with the Quili Uarte well back. Fortunately for the Blues, they got cover across. As Paul Gallen again rolls the sleeves up to take it 35 out from his own line.
Line finder wasn't all that attractive from Mitchell Pearce, but I guess in these conditions anything will do. And this is Tamo, and now it's gone away. Africani to Glenn Stewart, playing right side, second row. Farah waiting, and Tamo wants to, well, he ran a decoy, then Carney. Now Pearce, and Pearce, he really hit the go button there. So much pressure on the New South Wales halves. And Paul Gallen is shouldered into the ground by Nate Miles and David Taylor. But the captain gets up. And Pearce now kicks high. And Thurston running a block, and Slater sailing through the ground.
Gee, the Queenslanders, I thought, were very lucky not to be penalised, though. I thought that Slater was given a real good block from Thurston, which denied the defender an opportunity to get there and contest the ball.
Thurston playing the ball on the far side of the ground, and Greg Inglis is being very, very well spotted over there. Every time he's got the ball, he's 2 and 3 in the tackle. Now Cameron Smith pinches some metres. He plays it back for Harrison. The pass to Sivanasiva looks forward. The crowd adjacent roared that way. Played by Sivanasiva. Down to Thurston it goes to his right foot. And he grubber kicks down in towards Stewart. And Stewart, who's had a couple of fumbles early on. And he'll play it 15 metres out. Mal Meninga and Michael Hagan, his assistant. They'd be thinking to themselves, well, we should have been 6 in front right now. Jared Hayne playing it 25 metres out. Uarte comes in and takes the gallop. He scored a couple of tries in his brief Origin career, which reaches 5 as of tonight. Now for Bird. And Bird, who's been quite outstanding for New South Wales in the opening 16 minutes of the game, can you believe? Here is Jennings, and Jennings tries to step between the forwards. Taylor and Sivanasiva. Petro still getting up, and Farah actually pushed him out of the road so he could put that kick in. Oh! It came off the stomach of Billy Slater, and the referee has said play on.
Wow. How did he get out of that, Billy the Kid? Hits him in the belly, hits him in the hands, and he gets it before his feet touch the line. Only Billy could do that.
That was a magnificent piece of play, really. Just for a moment, I thought, oh, we've got a problem here for Justin Hodges for Queensland. Just for a moment, I thought it might have been a... Oh, Nate Miles! A shoulder from Glenn Stewart. Shot!
And that's the first time Queensland have been really denied an opportunity to get out of their territory. They're 23 metres away from the line, 5th tackle. They need a good kick and chase.
Smith decides to pass to Thurston. Thurston written to the ground by Carney.
And Brent Tate is in all sorts of trouble on the right wing for Queensland. Linked his way back. As New South Wales get the football 25 metres out, and they can sniff something here.
So Gallen it is that drives it between the markers. Played back to Farah, gone to Carney, now to Glenn Stewart. He's tackled on the 10-metre line, and he's 10 metres in from touch. The northeastern corner of the ground. Back it comes to Gallen. He goes deep away to Pearce and knocked on by Greg Bird. Knocked on by Greg Bird, and Billy Slater's got the ball for Queensland.
Yeah, Greg Bird did not want that ball, and Mitchell Pearce had no real right to show it to him.
Tate's gone, Ray. Leaving the field now. In fact, he hasn't left the field. Well, he has now. They haven't made a replacement yet. But he's in all sorts of strife. Looks like an ankle problem. As Dave Shillington, you can bet he won't be playing on the wing. No, Tate's back.
Out to the 30-metre line, and the penalty goes to the Maroons.
James, I got it, mate. Yeah. Too high, Glenn.
And as far as handy penalties come, that's one that the Queenslanders desperately need. The past 3 sets of 6, they've been struggling to get away from their own territory. And it's not just the yardage that's a problem for them. They seem to have lost a little bit of the structure of their attack.
And what did happen to Brent Tate? Let's have a look at that. And he's taken high. And I think that's the penalty tackle.
Yeah, I'm sure he picked up a leg problem, Ray. He's looking to get that, to run that out. Tim Grant came off after 18 minutes and was given a huge slap on the back from coach Ricky Stewart as Greg Inglis restarts.
This is David Shillington turning it back for Thurston, and Thurston working on the halfway line, and coming up in defence was Josh Morris. Played back to his captain, now for Harrison, and Harrison just drives it ahead. He'll play it 42 metres away from the Blues line. And here it is with Nate Miles in the 20th minute of the game. And no score in Origin 2. Being played out in front of a capacity house. Cronk from an outside-inside position for Slater. And Slater will play it on the 20-metre line. Queensland on the attack, and New South Wales now with some more pressure coming. Here's Thurston. He goes in and picks up Shillington. Shillington 10 metres out from the line. They go blindside, but the pass is bad. Went behind Thurston, picked up by Boyd. Boyd puts a little kick in. Bird is back there to clean it up, though. And Bird will play the ball about 10 metres out from his own line. Here's Jennings now. Jennings is put down a further 12 metres up the ground. Payne dancing over towards the middle of the ground. He'll play it just outside the 30-metre line, more to the western side of the ground. Brett Stewart with it now. So Brett Stewart to play the ball, 21 minutes gone. And penalty to 3-2 in favour of the Blues. Scoreboard attendant, nothing to do. Play by Tama. Play to Pearce, and Pearce is taken by Cameron Smith, but there's no problem there, no suggestion of a penalty. And here is Darius Boyd bringing it back to the 30-metre line.
Both Ben Creagh and Luke Lewis into the action for New South Wales as Brent Tate appears to have recovered. Does well to come off his right wing. Centre field, 32 out from his own line.
Tackled by Gallen. Smith gives it on to Harrison, who's working overtime on that left side for Queensland. That's the same side that Greg Inglis is on, and he's with the ball now. And Inglis shoulders into Gallen, and the New South Wales captain came spinning off the front wall. And now it's come away to Nate Miles, and he throws a dummy and improves the position of the football. 8 metres into New South Wales territory. Gallen's getting up slowly. We'll just keep an eye on him. The ball is going down and finding the line. And we'll take a break from Origin 2 and be back. Scrum packing 10 metres away from the Blues line, 20 metres in from touch from the southern end of the ground. That's the New South Wales end. And Carney to play the ball. He might have been a bit lucky not to get chastised at least for walking off the mark. Here's Josh Morris. Rounded up out there about 5 metres in from the touchline. It was a desperate tackle by Boyd. Here's Urate. And Aquila will play the ball. 38 away from his own line. And Robbie Farah comes out and puts the left foot on it. It goes down behind Brent Tate. Slater's back there with him. Tate then goes immediately to Slater. And Slater's got a ring of blue around him. And Ben Creagh moves quickly away to his right to make the tackle.
He wanted to go for a 40-20 there, Robbie Farah, and his own teammate got in his way. He had to balk and didn't quite hit the ball as sweetly as he would have liked. And by then, Brent Tate was back to cover.
And Billy Slater's in a little bit of trouble in the background. He took the ball up. He's damaged his knee, and there is cause for concern in the Queensland camp.
Oh, Ben Hannant is knocked on. That'll be a knock-on and a scrum feed for the Blues. About 35 out from the line in centre ground. Well, there's players out there seeking attention. Slater's down.
Swap here,
Tate is not well. Hodges not well. Gallen not 100%.
Well, it's no surprise. It's been brutal the first 24 minutes. Billy Slater up now and limping around. All four starting front rowers
Mitchell.
have come to the interchange bench. That was Ben Hannant's first touch. And this is how Billy Slater picked up an injury. You can see the ankle there under the tackle of Ben Creagh.
Well, there's an old saying, Peter, if you don't win the battle of the hitting, you probably won't win the other battles either. And both sides determined to win that little one up front. The hits have been enormous, the collisions.
Scrum win on the 30-metre line, and quickly they find one of the speed men in Jennings. Jennings will play it back to another of the speed men in Hayne, and Hayne goes towards the centre of the ground where he's held by Queensland in a three-man tackle. 20 metres in from the western side of the ground. Here's Gallen now taking one up the middle as they look to be setting something up on the right towards Ben Creagh's side of the ground. Luke Lewis is away to the left. They go on there to Bird. A run around is put on with Farah. They find Carney. They find Stewart. And the fullback, Brett Stewart, goes for the line. They're going to examine this. Maybe Brett Stewart has scored. Maybe he's held up.
The New South Wales reaction is a positive one. Jonathan Thurston comes up with the football. And the body language is getting better for New South Wales. They feel as though they're starting to get on top in this game. They've had some opportunities down this end. Gave the football away on a couple of occasions, but that scored. That has touched the line and gone into the in-goal area. Brett Stewart has got the opening points.
You know, Peter, I saw them do that run-around play about 6 years ago, and they haven't done it since.
Try. We're back with you in a moment. Well, there's the try scorer, Brett Stewart, the Manly fullback. Scored a try on Origin debut back in 2007. And that is his third try in what is now his seventh Origin match. He really had a fairly, what shall I say, topsy-turvy start to this game. Almost conceded a try to Queensland, and then he's the one that inflicts the damage at the far end. Now, Todd Carney, a backdrop of a massive crowd in the eastern stand. This will do his confidence the world of good if he can pop this. 5 in from touch, 28. There it goes, and he's brought it across the face of the uprights. So New South Wales leading 4-0. A comment on the sideline, Andrew Johns.
Yeah, that'll please the coach there. He's on screen, Ricky Stewart. A great set move there from the middle of the field. The bloke up in the box there, Peter Selling, he loves the run around. It's just it collects numbers. Look, it stops, makes them stand still, and then you get a big man, quick man, one-on-one with Jonathan Thurston, Brett Stewart, that close to the line on the Kuno replay. Always hard to stop. Look at this for a set play. Coming around, standing in the defence still, and then getting a quick man, one-on-one, on the edge of the ruck. Great try.
So the restart is down to Pearce, and Pearce goes to Creagh, and Creagh goes hard out to the 20-metre line. The Queenslander draped around the shoulders, another around the legs, and here's Luke Lewis now. One of 3 Penrith juniors in the 17 for the Blues tonight. Here's Pearce. And Mitchell will play the ball inside the 40-metre line. Miles and Hannant are saying there's a knock-on. Seems to be a common complaint, doesn't it? As it goes away to Carney, and Carney drives it down behind Slater, who's now got the left knee taped by one of the trainers. As was pointed out, oh gee, a tackle came out of the deep there, driving him into the ground from Robbie Farah.
Great tackle, great tackle.
It's all a case of getting to your kick and then get to the kick, and here's Farah down and driving on Slater. So Queensland with Brent Tate persisting to work this injury out, this ankle injury, I think it is. Hodges also, he had a problem. I think it might have been an eye problem for him. Hammond is with the ball now. Slater's not well. So the champions at the moment are really taking a bashing. And plenty of players struggling towards half-time. Brett Stewart is with the ball.
Well, the kick chase from New South Wales has been excellent. Kicks finding ground, but the chase has made them better. And you can see the field position now being the battle won by New South Wales. That's the second tackle. Third tackle, they'll be over halfway and in an attacking position for the last couple.
Lewis working back on the inside of Mitchell Pearce. Playing it back to Michael Jennings, and this match as we get deep into the halves and the big men start to tire, the pace men of Jennings and Hayne, they can do some damage with little runs out of dummy half. Carney now with the ball, getting rid of it in the tackle. Josh Morris is now with it. Greg Inglis has missed him, and Josh Morris was looking for Akila Uate, who passes from dummy half. It's gone to Carney. He gets a kick in, snaps it across towards Hayne and Tate wins the jump. 20-metre restart.
Well, that was a magnificent take from Brent Tate. He was superb in Melbourne when they kicked to him on a number of occasions as Shillington brings it back. And that was a wonderful kick just where New South Wales wanted it to land, but Tate was up to the task.
The biggest challenge for the Maroons at the moment is getting field position prior to their kick. The last few, they've been restricted to about 20, 25 metres.
Smith now in the centre of the ground. Glenn Stewart. And they scored it back to the benches.
He played the full 80 minutes in Melbourne.
Corey Parker.
Watmo is out there and Corey Parker on for Nate Miles.
Corey Parker called in to replace Sam Thaiday. Ball goes to first and he kicks, and he's got perfect weight on it, but Hayne has recovered and run the ball out 12 metres.
Fellas, I'll tell you who's doing a magnificent job in defence tonight, and that's Morris over there on that right-hand side. Queensland have tried to get to Uate again. Morris has made 7 tackles. Uate has made 0. He hasn't let them get to his winger at all. So they've really covered up for where they were vulnerable in game 1, and that man right there is having an enormous influence on that right-hand defence.
Here's Robbie Farrett playing in front of his mum tonight. His mum has not been well, and here's the ball across to Bird. The ANZ Stadium people have made a box available to the Farrers so that Robbie's mum can watch the game in comfort. Well done, ANZ. Here's the kick up in the air from Mitchell, and up goes Billy Slater. Down he comes, uncontested in the air. Cray was a bit lucky not to get penalised there. Here is Tate running a couple little zigzags in behind to play the ball.
But it's still the Origin mentality, isn't it? New South Wales appear to be well on top, but only lead by 4. And there's always that lingering thought in the back of your mind that the Maroons can strike at any time. It's a marvellous concept.
Smith kicking out of dummy half. Watching players go down in maroon jumpers is starting to remind me of 1989. Blake Sandy behind me pulled that out of the fire big time.
One of the greatest Origins ever played. One of Queensland's greatest ever, if not their greatest ever win.
It might have been Wally's finest moment.
He had plenty of them.
I understand that. It's pretty hard to define. I was just going to say that. But 89 and players going down all over the park. Stewart with that look of worry that is a persistent feature of his brow. And here is Slater on the carry back.
Now that was unusual. Mitchell Pearce, third tackle, 20 metres out, decided to kick it. The momentum changed up from Cameron Smith out of dummy half leading up to that. So he's backed his defence here because Queensland already again in lethal position with Greg Inglis.
But there's a strike man for Queensland at the moment. I really think it's Cooper Cronk. The New South Wales defence is staying out a little bit wide. They're marking up on Jonathan Thurston pretty well. The slide defence is covering them. Cronk on the edge of the ruck. The gaps are starting to open.
Corey Parker now. 30 metres out from the line, and Cronk goes behind the decoy. Thurston does the same, and Hodges is with the ball. Hodges has lost the ball. Another scrum forced by the New South Wales defence. Will pack just outside their own 20-metre line.
And that's been the big improvement for mine for New South Wales tonight. The aggression in defence, not only in the middle of the field, but out wide. The centres getting up and cutting off the opposition attack before they can put pressure on the wingers. I said Jared Hayne earlier, up and in, was very effective. Jennings there, up on Hodges. Morris on the other side, outstanding. And it is bustling Queensland.
Friday night football, Dragons play the Bulldogs. That'll be a tremendous game, and we take football back to Wynn Stadium at Wollongong on Friday. That's the New South Wales match. And Cowboys played Broncos. Cowboys-Broncos up in Townsville. That's the Queensland live game on Friday.
Rabbits, I'm just looking at the New South Wales tackle count. The fact that they've decided with Robbie Farah he's going to go the 80 minutes tonight, Queensland are really targeting him. Robbie Farah has made 34 tackles in this first 33 minutes. So they're really trying to wear him out and get New South Wales without a dummy half.
Play by Lewis then, 30 metres out from his own line. Ben Cray is bent over in the tackle. He'll play the ball inside the 40-metre line. Hannant was the main tackler. Watmo running with it in jumper number 17. And Watmo will play it on the halfway line. Shoulder worry there for Watmo. Andrew Johns knows more about it. Apparently some bulging or some swelling around the vertebrae. And in fact, Andrew said to Anthony, I think I wouldn't be playing. You've got the same as I had. But he's playing. And Carney kicks down in the corner. Billy Slater has made a mistake.
And put that down to the extra attention that Billy's been able to get tonight. The New South Wales Blues have kicked early for a reason, to get him back there isolated so he can't link up with his wingers, which meant they've given him a physical battering. Billy Slater's had to run the ball back and get tackled on 10 occasions. And that extra fatigue and the knee hurting a little bit, and all of a sudden he comes up with a fumble at a very crucial start of the first half. The tactics tonight from both sides are there for all to see. Intriguing stuff, Rabbits.
Loving it.
And danger time. 5 minutes before half-time. The amount of points that are scored in all games. And look through the NRL. That's when the concentration starts to waver. This is a tremendous opportunity for New South Wales to go in with a substantial lead at half-time.
5 minutes to half-time. 4-0 the Blues. Carney, while Cooper Cronk lost his footing in the defensive line, played by Jennings, Pearce, Bird dummies, and then there's a maul of players on the ground.
Yeah, I got him.
Well, Carney was hit on suspicion.
Carney taken out on suspicion.
Justin
Hey,
Hodges.
Robbie, I got it. Now get out of it. Where he got it.
Stay
You
with
can't
Archer.
come in and take him out without the ball, mate.
This is one of Gus's favourites. Carney taken on suspicion by Hodges. And a penalty goes to the Blues.
I got no problem with it. No problem with it. They dummied to him. He was running at a hole. What's Hodges to do? Let him run through before he tackles him.
So here's Watmo. 8 metres away. He'll play the ball in centre ground. A chance just in front of the half-time break. Gallen run around. Farah. Lewis is with it now. Luke Lewis to play the ball.
That's
the Penrith captain.
That's the option to the play they scored from.
Here's Farah then, doing some work out of dummy half himself, and then getting a ball away. Gallen slides it to Carney. Carney to Bird. Bird taken. Pulled down by Cooper Cronk low, and over the top there was Matt Gillette. It's gone out, a long ball to Pearce, and Pearce runs to the line. He jinks, he gives it back to Luke Lewis. He pops it onto the ground, and Farah's dived on the ball. Some of the Blues are looking for more tackles, a restart. Here's Gallen from dummy half, and he barges to a metre. So this is the last for New South Wales now. And Farah puts a kick in. It's been picked up beautifully off his bootlaces by Cameron Smith.
Well, he lives in Melbourne. They catch very well down there, and I'll bet that Cameron Smith is glad that he pulled that one out of the skies. Otherwise, Queensland were under enormous pressure.
He read that beautifully. He could see Robbie Farah's ears burning. He knew that he was going to try the little left foot dab out of dummy half, and the Australian Melbourne Storm captain ticked it up nicely.
This is Hodges.
What a game. What an absolute classic Origin encounter.
Cronk running half and kicking down in behind Hayne, who's working back quickly back into the in goal. He's not going to chance it, and Jared comes running back and takes the tackle 2 metres out from his own line. He's been good tonight, Hayne. Here's Jennings. These are the two that I'm sure are going to feature later in this game tonight.
That's lovely tactics from Queensland, kicking in behind them early. New South Wales now have got to be very careful not to come up with an error.
Play by Uarte. 20 metres out from his own line, and Lewis comes across, sidestepping. Gets out of the tackle, takes it up the middle. He'll play the ball on the 30-metre line. Playing the ball in a saturated Victoria Bitter side. Sponsors of the Blues. And now playing the ball as Anthony Watmo. Back to Robbie Farah. High pass out to Pearce. Makes him vulnerable. Down the ground to Slater. Comes off his 10. Gives the ball to Tate. This has been a show of courage by Tate. I think we, as a commentary team, had him out of the game at about the 15-minute mark. But he's laboured on, and this ball has gone sloppily along the line out to Greg Inglis. He might be good, but he's going to be hard pressed to make something out of that kind of service. He plays it. Thurston scoops it up to Boyd, and Boyd will play the ball about 9 metres short of halfway.
Still a comeback to the fact that despite being dominant, it's still only 4 points to nil in favour of the Blues. They've done really well, Queensland, to hang in there under intense pressure and a real battle.
Cronk getting the ball across to Hodges. We're in the last 90 seconds of the first half, and the number of tries that are scored in this bracket of Origin is quite incredible. Tate it is that gets the ball away, and Cronk goes high. Brett Stewart comes out of the deep. Uarte's let the ball bounce. It's gone to ground, picked up by Queensland, and Ben Hannant has scored. Ben Hannant has scored for Queensland in that incredible 90-second period before half-time.
Checking the onside and the challenge.
Yeah, they're going to check the onside and the challenge, but again it's this flat kick from Cooper Cronk. It's a brilliantly executed bomb that comes down almost impossible to catch. We've seen him do it a lot, and he nails this one perfectly. Watch how he hits it. The ball doesn't spiral. They're all onside. He kicks it right in the middle of the ball, and the ball comes down flat, doing nothing, and then just swivels away. Uarte won't take a leap at it. Bounces big. Up they come. Nothing wrong with that challenge. Picked up, inside. Benny Hannant, front rower, following just in case, and he's going to come up with an incredible Maroons try in the shadows of the halftime siren. Can you believe that one?
That's his second try, Ben Hannant. He's aching for a run-on spot, which is going to come his way with the departure of Petro at the end of this year. But the ball came down off Uarte, scooped away, and Ben Hannant plunges in. The put down is good, and it's got to be a green light, you would think.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Just waiting for the decision to come down. It's a try for Queensland. Again, a try right on the halftime siren. The number of times that happens is now becoming even more than incredible.
Well, he's got to lift himself, Ricky Stewart. He's sitting there on the sideline saying, this always happens. But you've got to get that out of your head. He's got to go in and lift his troops. On the Keno replay, put it down to the brilliant execution. Reward for hours of practice from Cooper Cronk that kicked a bomb that no one could take. Uarte wanted to get there, but just couldn't trust himself. In the end, great chase from the Queenslanders. They're always there if there's some luck to be handed out. Harrison picks it up, on to Hannant, the big front rower, and he'll muscle his way into the in goal. This Origin football keeps producing the same things over and over and over again. Don't you love it?
So the attempted conversion right on halftime to be taken by Jonathan Thurston, who's 5 points away from being the second highest point scorer in Origin football. This will make it 3. And he converts the try right on halftime. A try scored by Ben Hannant off a bomb that was allowed to bounce, and Queensland capitalised big time. So at the break, it's 6-4 in favour of Queensland from ANZ Stadium, to where we will come back with Peter Sterling and the panel running through the Jeep highlights of the first half. They'll have all the statistics for you, plus the latest from TAB Sportsbet. You're watching Nine's broadcast of Harvey Norman State of Origin 2. Ice Age 4, half-time is next. We are nothing without history, because without history, there is no game. No legends, no real point. Without understanding the grandstand finishes of the past, how do we celebrate the present, plan for the future? And what is rugby league without a home, without family, occasion, and pure theatre? This is where our game, by nature and tradition, puts on the big show. Writes history, turns wild dreams into stark reality. Come with us to places no ticket can buy. Channel 9, the home of rugby league. That's exactly where we are, on the home of rugby league, with Cameron Smith taking the Queenslanders out quite incredibly with a lead of 2 points at half-time, but we shouldn't be shocked in any manner at all. Not just Queensland, but New South Wales as well have somehow or other pulled a rabbit out of the hat in that minute before half-time. This time it was Queensland's turn. They probably are more in keeping Queensland with pulling the big play out, the big try out at the stern end of the ground and the stern end of the game, in fact. Wally in 89, Mark Coyne, all of those things. Carlaw forcing a draw with things that happened in the last minute of play.
Cameron Smith in Melbourne.
Cameron Smith in Melbourne.
Started it all.
Paul Gallen on his way back. Now let me have a look at the stats for you that New South Wales are confronted with. They've trailed 38 times. In Origin football, they've come back from a deficit to win on only 6 occasions.
Well, the key here is, even though they trail on the scoreboard, whether or not the coach can convince them they're on top, and convince them that they can go on to win. It's a sales pitch. There's no football to be taught. There's no new lessons. There's no rocket science. It's a sales pitch that you are on top and you're going to win. You've just got to get it done.
And at half-time, the only player not to have been used so far is Trent Merrin, the bench for New South Wales. All other 33 players involved. Match Lennon played 17 minutes in Melbourne. Looks like he'll get more. In fact, he probably already has as we speak, as we get ready to get underway.
The second half, in fact, is underway. The Blues this time running towards the southern end of the ground. And it is David Shillington who plays the ball, and Corey Parker brings it out just beyond the 20-metre line. Lewis and Farah being told, you can hear loudly from the referee, when you can get off him.
Well, we've got a call to the sideline already. Corey Parker appears to have done his shin. Can you believe that? 20 seconds into the second half.
The pass goes wildly behind Boyd. Goes into touch. But the Blues will get the loose head and feed. And Parker...
Time up, mate.
Calling the referee across to grab his attention.
This is an unusual looking injury because he's got a scrape down the shin. The scrape down the shin. It's not a muscle or a break. It's a gaping wound down the leg.
Gus, when you're playing outside and you take a little bit of bark off, it's a scrape.
Yeah, well,
it's hardly a scrape.
Yeah.
It's almost like open surgery.
Well, let's hope that it's only going to be stitches. They do appear to be calling for the stretcher at the moment.
We'll take a quick break and come back in a moment.
Back on now.
Well, Corey Parker has been taken from the field with that massive gash to the leg. And Queensland have replaced him. Blues winning the scrum, and they go onto the attack early in the second half with Uriarte taken by the number 14 coming up out of the line, Matt Gillette, who came on in the back end of the first half. Played by Uriarte. It's gone to Carney. Carney calls Bird back on the inside. He gets the ball to Farah. Farah gets it to Pearce. Pearce puts it onto the chest of Gallen, and Gallen goes straight ahead. Who played the ball on the 20-metre line, Paul. And here is Robbie Farah coming across and then getting it on to Mitchell. He turns it back inside for Lewis, and Lewis beautifully taken by the try scorer Ben Hannon. And here is Watmo having a look, and Pearce back on the inside. He puts a little kick in. Oh, Carney might score. Carney was held out anyway.
He's checking a try. Wait.
I don't know whether he's got a try or not, but he was held back.
I saw it.
I think it's
Don't come
Cooper
charge at me, Greg.
Coming across on the inside.
Yeah.
I spoke to you about it in the first half.
And I said I'm watching it. We're checking it. Will you just wait?
Well, Paul Gallen has had plenty to say to Tony Archer. He looks certain to score.
He's checking it, mate.
Deft little kick.
Time to go through the
Todd
process.
Carney was definitely in
Trying to go
front.
through the process, okay? Listen, Paul, can you tell him to just go away? We're checking it all, mate. Just relax.
Now watch
I know,
Carney.
he keeps coming. They're all just-
Carney's onside. He's just inside the 10-metre line, off to the left, and then somebody grabs him and holds him back.
It looks like Cooper
Not
Cronk.
once, but a couple of times. Cooper Cronk.
Well,
Now Slater, his positioning is vital here if you're thinking penalty try.
at the very least, it's a sin binning for Cooper Cronk.
It'll be a penalty to New South Wales at the very least if it's not a penalty try.
Yeah, if Carney's not held back, he gets to the ball a lot quicker than what it appears here. I agree, they'll probably say Slater had 50-50 and will say no penalty try.
Hang on.
Here it comes.
Hang
Here
on.
it comes.
You got that, Benny?
No try.
And Cooper Cronk. Hang on, mate. Just wait. Just wait.
Yeah, got it. Thanks, Clarky.
No, it's not. Just relax. Just relax.
Not over
You've
yet.
instructed him off the ball.
10 minutes in the bin for Cooper.
Professional foul.
Professional foul.
Mate, he's held him back off the ball. There'll be a penalty here. Professional. Oh, yeah, I think he is. Yeah.
Cameron Smith asking, was Billy Slater going to get there? And that was the only reason it wasn't a penalty try, because he got close enough in the vicinity to have a touch about there as Paul Gallen points to the posts.
Yeah, but it's great work by Cooper Cronk. But that's Origin. That's Origin. You never give up. You never give him a chance. You keep getting in there and fighting.
And you can't blame him for doing it as well. This is a big decision about to be made by the Blues, exactly how they're going to handle it from here.
We've got to have no doubt that he would have scored. So.
And there's the explanation from the referee.
No, that's fair enough, but I think Gus's point, Wally, is a valid one, that Carney would have been in a different proximity had he not been pulled back out of it, in relation to Slater, I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, I'm damn sure he would have grabbed the ball and put it straight down, no doubt whatsoever. Cronk leaving the field for Queensland, that is going to be expensive.
We did see something similar in the Test match, of course. Billy Slater coming across for the Australians. It looked like it could have been a penalty try, but there was another Australian there.
So Carney, he might have been denied a try, but he kicks the penalty goal, and we're locked up. Back live at Origin, 6-all the score. Early days, second half.
My whistle, mate.
Seen in big games like this, as a coach, I applaud what Cooper Cronk did.
Back on.
You've got to put it on the officials. You've got to protect your line. And even though it's cost them 10 in the bin, it's better than 6 under the posts.
Gallen then on kick reception.
And in Melbourne, when Michael Jennings was sin bin, Queensland were able to take advantage. They scored 4 minutes later. They lost the momentum, did New South Wales. Queensland face that assignment.
This even is a bigger advantage for the Blues, losing their number 7. They're up the middle, the Blues, with Carney. Passes, gets it to Stewart. He's got the pace. He's inside 20. He's inside 10. He scores. Brett Stewart scores his second try of the night. Brilliant performance by Carney to make the break. But Brett Stewart scores his 4th Origin try and his second tonight.
And they didn't have to wait 4 minutes to take advantage. What a crazy opening to this second half. Corey Parker taken off after 30 seconds. We've got a man in the sin bin. And the New South Wales team take the lead. Poor miss from Ashley Harrison. He's done plenty of defence in his defence. And Todd Carney brushed through Brett Stewart. He's a try scorer, this man. That's 2 for the afternoon, the evening. 4 from 7 matches.
Been sparked. He then converts the try. 12-6, Andrew John sideline.
Yeah, all we've heard all week is for people screaming for Todd Carney to run the ball. He gets some space, right foot, strokes through on the Kuno replay. And then a half chance. Who do you want there with a half chance? Brett Stewart. Look at him in the clear. Not a better side for New South Wales supporters. 2 tries. How good's that?
I'll tell you what, the chase by Darius Boyd was magnificent. Ashley Harrison missed Carney badly, and Boyd had to make a lot of space up, and Luke Lewis gave him a checkered passage. That didn't go unnoticed.
He certainly did. Luke Lewis really well in support. Made Darius Boyd take the long route to chase after Brett Stewart.
If the Blues run the ball to the right-hand side, their right-hand side, Queensland are in trouble. They're running a very restricted defensive line at the moment. It's about 20 metres wide. They're just trying to slide from side to side to cover the one man short.
Merrin is into the game. Gallen has come off, and Farrer is tackled on halfway. Western side of the ground, Hannant in behind the play. The ball just slowed New South Wales a little bit. And Luke Lewis will play the ball just outside the 40-metre line. The pass goes to Pearce, and Pearce plugs it down the ground, but it's taken by Slater, who I've got no doubts is feeling the effects of that knee.
Yeah, Mitchell needs a better kick than that. He's got to find the ground. He's got to get it in behind Slater, make him go back to pick it up, and hear the footprints coming.
Tate beating one tackle, that of Greg Bird. He'll play the ball on the Queensland red line. David Shillington from Canberra surges up to the halfway mark. Here is Smith, now Thurston. Oh, Ashley Harrison taken in a bottler of a tackle from Luke Lewis.
Origin tackle.
Thurston, and Thurston able to get it away, and Smith it is that has to put the kick in. And it's back with Hayne, and here's Hayne bringing it back. Outside 30, dancing around one, stepping around another, losing the ball in another. Was it raked out by Queensland? Josh Morris is on his way. Josh Morris will score. That's if it's deemed that Queensland have raked the ball out. Morris has scored a try. If they find that Queensland have raked the ball out.
Well, I thought it went forward and it went onto the New South Wales player's foot, and he simply kicked it ahead.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt in the minds of the Blues what's going to transpire here.
And Jared Hayne bringing the ball back from another ordinary finish to the set from Queensland. The kick went straight to him. And we'll get another view of that one. Lining up on the outside, Uarte. Bounce was nice for Josh Morris. He showed very good speed to outpace Greg Inglis to the line. We'll go back to see the contact as to why the ball came out.
It's gone straight down to his foot. That's a try.
It's a try. It's been raked out by Jonathan Thurston in the minds of the officials onto the boot of Morris, picked up by a player in an onside position, and a try has been awarded.
Josh Morris's second try. He's been in Origin before. It was quite a gap between being called up for this game, and they just lost their way again. Jonathan Thurston didn't get the kick in. Cameron Smith forced to come up with the best he could. And the ball did come down, hit Jared Haynes' right foot, and Josh Morris on the fly. He's having a great season. Here's a young man who played New South Wales Cup last season.
Well, he's been magnificent in the first 2 games, what we've seen of them with his defence on the great Greg Inglis. But then he showed a clean pair of heels. The only real chaser was Greg Inglis. He knew the urgency. He very much knew the urgency of what had happened, and Inglis gave chase, but Morris, too much pace. Andrew John sideline.
Yeah, have a look at the move Jared Hayne puts on Greg Inglis here. What a natural player in open field. Gets the ball in open pasture. Look at this. Big left foot step. And then the instincts and the presence of mind when the ball gets straight to put it on the toe. And have a look at this for a finisher. I spoke about Brett Stewart. Look at this, little in the way to get away from Inglis. In any injury update, Lockie, on the Queenslanders?
Yeah, boys, the Maroons are up against it here. Corey Parker's not going to be back tonight. He's got a bad cut to the leg. And also, Billy Slater was seen at half-time doing a fitness test, so he's not 100%, as well as Brent Tate.
Cooper Cronk with just under 2 minutes to get back, so there's still time for another one for the Blues if they can find the gap.
16-6, 24 from 27 completions for the Blues, 18 from 25 for Queensland. As Carney delivers off to Luke Lewis, and Lewis running along the 30-metre line, grounded in the middle of the park by Hannon. Now Tamo, taken by Gillette and Shillington and Hannon. And here's Cooper coming down the tunnel to be ready to come back on the stroke of 10 minutes. Anthony Watmoe playing it for Robbie Farrell. Slip it on to Mitchell Pearce, and then it goes down deep. And Slater immediately gives it back to Brent Tate. So Tate will play the ball back on his own 20-metre line.
10 points of difference, and I think that is now really reflective of what we've seen tonight, the domination by New South Wales. It doesn't mean they're home and hosed by any stretch, because we know the Queensland spirit. We know they'll keep grinding away, and they're a champion team. But the scoreboard now reflects the domination.
Here's Thurston challenging the line and taking Greg Inglis with him. But Inglis again has been stubbed in defence by Morris and Duarte. Now Thurston short, away to Shillington. And Shillington will play the ball just a couple of metres on New South Wales' side of halfway. Play back for Cameron Smith to go on to Jonathan Thurston. He drives it straight down the middle and deep, looking for the dead ball line and finding it.
That's an interesting kick. It looked like he really meant it. Cooper Cronk desperate to get back into the action. When he left, it was 6 points all. He comes back to find that he's got to chase down a deficit.
Maybe that's had something to do with why Thurston reefed that ball down over the dead ball line. At least only with 12, he had time to organise the defensive line, just to get a bit of oxygen back. Soak a little bit of time up as Cooper waits to come back into the game.
Well, 2 of those points scored were a result of him going off, so New South Wales have scored 12 in his absence. It shows maybe a player short what effect that can have. We saw it in Melbourne, we've seen it here tonight.
So Hayne it is that plays the ball back on halfway. And here's Bird. He'll play the ball just outside the 40-metre line. It was a brilliant run by Hayne that led to the Morris try. And Pearce is turning it into Tamo. Just on reflection, of course, the Jonathan Thurston involvement wasn't really vital at all when you realise that the ball came off the boot of Hayne before it struck the ground.
And the numbers are all even again. Good to have you back, Cooper. I'm sure all the Queensland players are saying they desperately need his injection into the game at the moment.
I'm watching him, Dave.
Last year they conquered America. This time it's Europe. What will the boys get up to on their most epic adventure? Hamish and Andy's Euro gap year starts tomorrow at 8 o'clock after the block. Gold Logie winner.
Here we go.
The gap year. I thought you only got one gap year. They've taken 2 in a row. Here is Tate now.
You and I are going on a gap year soon.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are. You and me.
No, Gus. You've got the wrong passenger. I'm not going. Here's Scott.
I've got just the place.
Yeah. Purgatory?
Paradise.
Purgatory. 30 metres out from their own line, and Miles it is, quick short passing through the forwards to Shillington. Now for Smith, and he kicks.
It's a 40-20 attempt.
Yeah, it's well in field, and it's going down for Brett Stewart to pick it up with safety, but then a beautiful chase by Cooper Cronk.
Origin tackle. Origin tackle. Watch the way Cooper Cronk supports his captain here and really accelerates the last 15 metres. He goes for the 40-20. It's in behind Stewart. Cooper Cronk will scream after this ball. Past his teammates, one-on-one. Bang, makes the tackle.
And just 60 seconds ago, we questioned whether his return to the field would inspire Queensland. He started well. What'll follow from here?
Yeah, it was very much a case of, hey, guys, I'm back.
Stay behind it.
Well, it's a personal play as well, isn't it? He knows that he let his side down to some degree by being off the paddock. Jared Hayne, not a great strike, but it will bounce over Jonathan Thurston's head to make it a much better drop out than it previously looked.
Scott, Matthew, carry back. He'll play the ball just a matter of a couple of metres into New South Wales territory, and Shillington goes ahead to be met by Watmo. Lewis is working hard. Goes right side for Miles now. And Nate Miles in the middle of the ground will play it 30 metres out. Lewis soaking up as much time lying in the tackle as he can. Slater, and another ill-directed pass out there hasn't helped, and Hayne has picked up the crumbs. Jared to play it 30 out from his own line. Watmo. Here's Trent Merrin now. The Blues are up to within about 5 metres of halfway.
Queensland really had New South Wales stretched on that play, and I'm a little surprised that Slater didn't make more of it. His errant pass was a let-off for the home side.
Great tackle by Nate Miles on Glenn Stewart right there. Now Tamo steps around, fends away, tries to step through, and he'll play the ball 38 out. Last tackle coming up for the Blues. They lead 16-6 in Origin 2, and you're watching the game exclusively live on the 9 Network. And here is Darius Boyd recovering back in his own 10-metre zone. Billy Slater, the dummy half that time. That's Gillette. His dad, Matt, born in Maxwell, his dad did a bit of rugby league combat against the father of Greg Inglis. I guess Greg's dad was playing for Bowraville. But here they are playing Origin together now, the Suns. Thurston will play the ball, 25 out from his own line. Now Matt Scott takes it outside that point, and he'll play the ball 15 metres short of halfway. Smith. And then Shillington. 16-6. It's a fairly deep hole, but they can climb out of anything. The men in maroon. Cronk. Hayne had a go at it with the leg. He's going to scamper back into the field of play to be taken by Tate. Jennings has to go back rapidly. So Jennings passes to Brett Stewart. Jennings is again there. Pearce away to Glenn Stewart. And Inglis has got him well and truly tabbed. Now Josh Morris. He got the third try of the night for the Blues. Brett Stewart got the first two. Uarte strong and fast. 22 out from his own line, so Queensland's defence has been good as Pearce gets a kick in, but it radars straight down to Slater again. And Slater comes across halfway, gives it to Tate. Tate angles back towards the middle.
I think Slater must be really sore in that knee because he hasn't taken the defence on much at all since he got strapped.
Hodges. He was the first of the Queenslanders to go down injured. And a penalty goes to the Maroons.
Too slow, get up.
Too slow in the defence. The Olympic Games, 44 days away, and you can watch it all right here on Channel 9. We are the official broadcaster of the London Games. And Smith it is that takes the tap and comes back, and it's Scott running towards the middle of the ground. So a chance here for Queensland to start biting into the deficit. Shillington, 5 away, you can see the line. Cronk, inside ball for Harrison, back to where they came from. He's mustering his troops, Cronk. Here's Smith, he goes the other way to big Greg Inglis. Now to Jonathan Thurston, back now to Justin Hodges. Hodges trying to free himself, but he's held in the tackle, and he'll play the ball 10 out. That's the 4th tackle against Queensland. Now Cronk back inside for Slater. And Slater is tackled on the 5th. So Smith puts a little grubber in, and it's grounded there by Brett Stewart. So it'll be a line dropout.
Absolute class there from Cameron Smith. Watch this play. Watch this play. The thing he wanted was a restart to get the ball back. Watch the class and the composure under pressure of this man. A dummy half a yard out from the line. Shimmy, shimmy, stop, stop. And a little right-footed nudge in between players to get it into the end goal. That's absolutely brilliant.
And I'm sure Smith is going to use his experience here. The Maroons are shifting the ball from side to side. He'll be having a peek just about every tackle to try and make sure, or have a look if there's a bit of a spare room up the middle of the ruck. His experience will play an enormous role in Queensland's chances.
Shillington up to the 30-metre line. Wally Lewis in co-commentary with Phil Gould and Peter Sterling in the box tonight. Andrew Johns, Darren Lockyer on the sideline. Brad Fittler a part of our coverage on the home of rugby league at the second Origin, and New South Wales trying to take this to a decider at Suncorp in 3 weeks' time. Cronk is with the ball. He goes away to Miles, and he's grasped there by Lewis. Gets up and goes again, but he's a metre short. David Shillington to play the ball. In fact, Nate Miles it was. Now Cameron Smith away to Cooper Cronk. He puts a little kick in. Brett Stewart, he might be offside, Josh Morris, but then again he might be in the in goal.
Stay there, Benny.
It's forced anyway. It's a line dropout.
Yeah, this is exactly what was needed from Queensland. Keep the pressure on. Be patient. They're very good at it. If they're to get back into this game as we go into the final quarter of it, it'll be on the back of this kind of play. I'm wondering, Gus, whether you'd even consider, if Billy Slater's not 100%, would you put him on the wing for a little while and give 5 minutes to Greg Inglis at fullback?
Well, they've got plenty of options, haven't they? Got Darius Boyd there as well.
Right, Jared, before the line,
It would be up to Billy, I guess, and you'd want to keep that 9-7-1 Melbourne Storm combination together for as long as you could while they were behind. Although I guess Inglis was a Storm player, he'd know too, wouldn't he?
Slater off the foot. Ball goes to Shillington this time. And Shillington gets it back to the 30-metre line. Now Scott. Referee must have decided in that incident with Stewart and Morris that Morris ran himself back onto an onside position. That's all I can fathom. Because Stewart lost the ball out in the field of play. So Morris had to then run himself onside. It was a fine line. Smith to Cronk, and Cronk away to Gillette. And Gillette will play the ball. 7 metres out from the line. The captain gets it away to Cooper Cronk, and Cronk is a metre out. Reach out and touch the chalk, but he couldn't get the ball over. Now it's out to Jonathan Thurston. The kick is accurate. Ioane watched it, and it's gone to Inglis. Greg Inglis has scored for Queensland. A beautiful bat down, and Inglis has gone in for his 14th try.
Yeah, no, leave him in the centres, Greg Inglis. Darius Boyd, very purposeful, just knocked it back into the path of Greg Inglis. Now, big conversion coming up here for Jonathan Thurston. Not quite sure what we're looking at. They certainly all appear to be onside, and they are.
Yeah, it was the indication was given by the touch judge, Sturlo. He said that they had to check whether all the players are onside. By that angle, it looks as though it's good news for Queensland. Isn't this going to promise a grandstand finish?
Well, let's look at this. Don't worry about the corner post. There's the plant down. It's a try. It's a try. They're onside behind the kicker, in line with the kicker perhaps. Greg Inglis has got his 14th try. He's the leading try scorer ever. And there it is, official. Well, Well, there he is, the greatest scorer of tries in Origin history. 14 for him. Dale Shearer 12. Greg went past Dale in Melbourne with the most controversial Origin try that I can remember. Well, it certainly generated a lot of aftermath and discussion. I thought it was a legal try when one examines the rule book. At the time, I'll be honest with you, I didn't have a clue. Thurston, look at that. Thurston, have a look at that. Brings him within 1 point of Michael O'Connor to track him down.
I'm loving the groans from Wally Lewis in the back of the box here. He's living every moment of this. How many do you want to win?
Oh, well, I'm a bit greedy in that department. There was a fair one going on when the Keno replay showed Hodges scoring in the corner. I don't seem to have them when New South Wales score, though.
So Matt Scott carries it back, and he's hit initially by Trent Merrin. Cleaning him up was Farah. There was Sibin Asiva just outside the 20-metre line.
Did you really expect anything different?
No, I was talking to our overseas audience and saying, you know, it's not as though we didn't know they were coming. They just will never ever lie down, not until the full-time hooter. And I've seen them score actually on the full-time siren that many times it's not funny. This is Nate Miles, who played the ball on the halfway line, playing back to Cameron Smith and now to Cooper Cronk. And that ball has gone straight to Jared Hayne. And broken field play, he loves it. As you saw in that try that he laid on eventually for Josh Morris.
The Blues have got to find some go forward here. Their last few efforts with the ball, they've made no ground at all, and they really build up to that opportunity for Queensland to screw them to the wall before getting another try. Look at this, they're getting driven backwards again. Here comes the Maroon surge. They're after them.
Luke Lewis to play it. Justin Hodges, no surprise to see him at the forefront of that defensive wall. And here is Gallen now.
And Ricky Stewart has got some fresh troops up. Well, they're sitting back down now, but he's keen to get some out there, Glenn Stewart.
Got it away to Josh Morris, and he got through Thurston, but he didn't beat Inglis. And Carney gets it on, and he's gone to Pearce, and Pearce drives it, and Slater runs away to his right-hand side. Slater coming out now from the 20-metre line. And is taken again by Merrin and Farah.
That's better from Billy Slater.
Lewis also involved in that tackle. Hodges is with it now. So 12 metres on their own side of halfway. We've got about 15 minutes to go, and the margin is 4, and Justin Hodges is hurt.
Well, this is the pressure I'm talking about pre-match. The Blues are very, very aware of the repercussions of a loss here tonight.
Okay, let's go.
They lose, the series is over. Queensland play with the luxury of already knowing they're in game 3, having won game 1. So the pressure.
He lost it, Nate Miles. There'll be a scrum. A little bit of a disturbance. The Blatchy's Blues go up. And there will be a scrum that will see a loose head and feed to New South Wales.
Well, they've got their go forward there, New South Wales, from their solid defence. Coming in on the side, Greg Bird forcing the mistake. They had momentum, Queensland. Greg Bird with one hit in low, forcing the ball short, forcing the ball out. Let's put New South Wales in a good position here. The clock in their favour.
They've got to get aggressive here. They've got to be thinking. They've got to be thinking another try.
Josh Morris taking it ahead. First play off the scrum win. Put down by Ashley Harrison with help from Jonathan Thurston. Now Uade puts himself into the game off the right wing. He'll play the ball on the 30-metre line. If Jennings can feature in this game, in this back end of the game, he hasn't been required to do a lot. And only half running from him, it might just be a little spark that the Blues can use right now. Here he is with the ball, and he steps away from one, and he's held 12 metres out from the line. Last tackle, Pearce is indicating to the air. So here is Pearce, and there is the kick. The chase is on. Morris is up there, but it came down to Inglis, and Glenn Stewart makes the tackle.
He's a freak. He is an absolute freak of a footballer. What a take under pressure. Look at this. They've all got the jump on him. Look at this. One-handed, reaching back over the back of his head. Degree of difficulty, 9.9999.
That's a fair bit of coming left.
This is Ashley Harrison. Smith on the clock. And Cooper kicking inside his 40-metre line, but it's sitting down. There's still a problem. And Brett Stewart's got to kill it. Yes, he kills it. Down at the northern end of the ground.
How to apply pressure. Brilliant stuff from the Queenslanders.
Well, there's an old saying, isn't there, Gus? A kick is only as good as its chasers. And boy, he has been first class all night. Tate, he gives his best. Everybody will be expecting Hayne would sheer out running, but boy, that's great. The competition for spots out here at the moment is first class.
Well, here we go. How many times have we been in this position in Origin history? What have we been going, 32 years?
Make sure you stay behind, Michael.
And I guess this is when Darren Lockyer talks about experience. Queensland a long way in front in that behalf.
Just get rid of that ball, mate.
Well, they'll know what to do here. New South Wales, it's foreign territory for a lot of their players. Haven't had a lot of games at this level in this position.
Line drop out from Haynes. Bouncing down, friendly to Cronk. 62 tackles now for Robbie Farah in this game. Make that 63 because he's in there with Grant and Stewart. Now for Sivanasiva had it and it just tried to bobble out, but he got it back in. Played by the 32-game veteran. Now Miles, he's put down 21 metres out, right in front of the sticks. Played by Miles, and Smith it is, the Dodgers, goes to Slater, then to Cronk. He rolls it in behind, Tater's after it, and it's put dead over there by Jared Hayne. Another line dropout.
Yeah, and they're into their rhythm. They're just turning the screws. They're just patient. This is the experience. This is the confidence born of demonstrated ability. This is the confidence of a team that has won 6 Origin series in a row. And so many of these players get to play together so often at this level, and with the Australian side, they're trusting, they believe, and they know there's plenty of time to pull out a win. New South Wales, on the other hand, like Peter said, they've failed at this back end of the game so many times in the last 6 years. They need to get it right tonight.
That line dropout was Fuller, and Scott is hit hard. Rattled up there in a tackle from Gallen. I thought it might have jolted the ball free. Cronk goes on to Taylor. So they've brought the big weapon in to this back end of the game with about 10.5 minutes to go. Here's Cronk working across to Thurston. Thurston keeps coming out to Darius Boyd. He goes back in field and Carney rides him into the turf. 17 metres out from the line. And 16-12. Queensland trying to chase them down. Sivanasiva. An effective tackle by Bird low. Over the top was Grant. Here's Smith now. Beats one. Gets it away to Harrison. And Ashley Harrison, who's not scored a try in 14 Origins, goes 2 metres away from the line. Cronk then puts the kick over towards the wing. And Tate, he was about to put it down, and he lost the ball. Brent Tate. Jared Hayne couldn't get a grip on it. It was there for Brent, and he can't get a grip on it either. There it is. And knocked out. It was a vital moment for Michael Jennings. Jennings has dislodged the ball from Tate.
So many games are won by tries saved. And Michael Jennings, even though there's 10 minutes to go, that could be a critical moment in this clash.
Grant is with the ball. Farah short and away to Lewis, who decides to go straight up the middle.
That's a better run.
16-12 and 9 minutes to go. Last tackle for the Blues, leading by 4. Pearce, he puts a kick into the air, Slater's under it, and he takes it successfully, comes down, and away goes Slater. He's going up the right side, but he's tackled over there by Tim Grant. A good chase by the prop. Now for David Taylor. Just on his own side of halfway. Hodges, Cronk to Smith, Smith to Thurston, Thurston to Inglis. Inglis got away from Bird, puts a hand in the face of Gallen. Gallen hangs on, and with the help of Uarte, they put him down. But they're back to the 30-metre line. Cronk gives it to Siva. Lewis takes him and forces him back. So Siva will play it inside the 40-metre line. And that's the fourth tackle gone. Hodges runs on tackle 5. Gets the ball away. Up to Taylor now. He'll play it on the 5th. 20 metres out.
You kick for English surely here. Across the face.
Same play as before. Peter's predicting. Cronk, there it goes. And we're looking for Inglis. We're looking for Uarte. Oh, Wakani's got the ball. And obviously they've ruled that it's come down off Inglis.
7.5 minutes to go.
Hayne.
And this is where Ricky Stuart is looking for his halves to take direction of this game. To point his players around. If they need to go forward, they should be pointing at the men to take it. That's the captain, Paul Gallen. And then get the good kick away at the end of it. This is where your halves show the ownership that Ricky Stuart talks about.
7 minutes to go. Greg Bird picked up. The leg is off the ground. That's held. And Bird to play the ball. 18 metres away from his own line. New South Wales slogging it out from the red zone.
That's the last tackle.
Now the kick has to come big from Carney. And there it goes, down the ground, but again it's going straight to Slater. So the number 1 for Queensland brings it back. Beats Pearce, but he's rattled up in defence. Right on the halfway in the Harvey Norman side. In fact, he plays the ball just on his own side of halfway, and Taylor's got it now.
In the latter stages of these Origin games, when Queensland have needed to try to win, here's a penalty. This is danger now. In the latter stages of Origin games where Queensland needed to try to win, it was always the combination of Thurston, Lockyer, Slater. Outside ball, inside ball. The New South Wales forwards have got to be ready for it. It'll be Cronk to Slater or Taylor to Slater.
Well, here comes the option for Queensland. They'll take the ball infield a little bit. Do they continue it and go on with Inglis, or do they take it back to the right-hand side and hope that Hodges will be able to strike alongside Slater?
20 metres out from the line. And Siva taken to ground on 1. Matthew Scott on 2. 12 metres out, down the middle come Queensland. They're 4 behind. Taylor's knocked on. The referee is going to put a scrum down. 12 metres out from the Blues line.
Well, that's
5.5 to go.
That's an absolute bonus for the Blues. 5.5 to go. Still no signs of stress from the Queenslanders. And the Blues under the pump. Taylor just overrunning this one a little bit. Looking upfield. Eyes off the ball. Comes up with the fumble.
Well, New South Wales earned that fumble to some degree as well with the way they played tonight. He had a bit of a look, Dave Taylor. You're only having a look if you know that the opposition are going to come up and belt you, and they've been pretty good in that department. Can they hold it together for another 5.5 minutes?
Harvey Norman State of Origin Game 3. Queensland up against New South Wales at Suncorp in Brisbane. Live at 7:30, exclusively live on the 9 Network. Wednesday, July 4, Independence Day. Here's Stewart. And he plays the ball back to Robbie Farah. What a Herculean effort by him. He's rattled up 63 tackles. It was no secret he is going to have to play the 80. Here's Bird trying to poke his nose through. He'll play the ball 7 metres into Queensland's area. Farah gives it to Pearce, and Pearce goes ahead, but he's taken and jolted down by Nate Miles. Just outside the 30-metre line, blindside play for Farah, and Farah puts it high. Slater's coming up. Slater takes it successfully, and Jennings puts him down. So Queensland are back on their 10 with 4.5 minutes to go. Here's Tate with the ball.
42 tackles, Nate Miles. 40 for Cameron Smith, leading the way for Queensland as they try and ruck it out of their own end through Matt Gillette.
on the 20-metre line. Taken by Bird. Here's Justin Hodges running across looking for Taylor. And plenty of the Blues took the dummy. But Hodges is still in possession, held in an upright tackle, which has been now called held. Play back to Smith and away to Cronk. He looked to go inside for that ball to Slater. And pulled it back at the last moment. Here's the kick to clear. Off Cameron Smith, a torpedo going down to bounce to Uwate. And Uwate piling on the speed out to the 40-metre line, and a bit better than that.
Well, Mitchell Pearce and Carney have got to be thinking about the back end of this set of 6 in getting a restart or getting the ball into touch, preferably in goal for a line dropout.
Morris in the middle of the ground now. Bird and Greg Bird to play the ball. 42 metres out. That's the end of 3. You're looking at the 4th tackle now with Farah. So 32 out, the kicker's getting ready. Gallen will take one more. And Gallen to play the ball 25 out. This is an important kick. Farah at dummy half and on to Mitchell Pearce. He decides to go to the air. That's again a challenge for Slater. He comes down empty. Jennings has got the ball into touch. Into touch. Referee consulting touch judge.
Wait there, Brett.
Queensland's ball.
Wait.
And Ricky Stewart has gone for experience to finish this game. Tim Grant has come off.
Go back,
Anthony
time off.
Watmough back into the game.
Time off. Get him out, Paul.
He'd love to be out there, the man in the grey suit.
He nearly is.
The man in the grey flannel suit. He'd like to be out there.
Well, when you're playing your interchange,
Big tackle on Petro by Lewis with some help from Watmough. Now they go across to Nate Myers. But the Blues have muscled up in defence on this set. They're meeting them almost on the ad line. Thurston taken by Carney. And they're still only 13 metres out from their own line. 2 minutes to go. 16-12 the score. Gillette down, up again, passes. Here's Boyd going across the park. And he's hammered again by the Blues defence, which has restricted Queensland on this set magnificently. Here's Cronk with the ball. And Gallen it is that makes the tackle on the 20-metre line. That's where they're kicking from. Smith bends away. They're running the ball. Inglis gets it away. Boyd is with it. He puts a kick in. Knocked on by Uwate. Was it? He's taken off down the ground. Was it a rebound? It's gone over the line with Uwate. There'll be a further inquiry on this one. This may well be the famous word coming back.
He hasn't played a lot of rugby league. But he's got to know, you don't stop and put the doubt in the referee's mind.
Honesty is never a policy on the football field for the players.
Well, let me try and explain. This ball hasn't been played at by Akila Uwate.
It has.
It has. So that's the end of that.
He's an honest man.
The only time a rebound can apply or a ricochet is if the player doesn't play at it, and Uwate has played at the ball.
okay, well, strap yourselves in. 1 minute 20 left on the clock. I don't want to go back in history and talk about all the times in the last set of 6 of the game Queensland have snatched victory from the jaws of defeat.
And Gus, while that decision was coming, Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater and Jonathan Thurston all got together and had a powwow. Just the 4 of them, just the 4 playmakers, determining what they are going to do in this final minute and 9 seconds.
And they've just lost 15 to 20 seconds with that scrum play. They packed down, but simply stood up. Didn't get it packed. Come on, Queensland. You boys can do it from here.
The bench is up. This is quite an experience. The King in the box. He's got out of the throne. He's standing and now he becomes a spectator. It's come to Slater and gone to Inglis. He shovels one out of the road, but the Blues are looking to put him into touch. And I think they have. No, they haven't. He's centimetres infield. Sivanasiva gets the ball. And a 3-man Blues tackle puts him down. 41 metres out from the Blues line. Here is Cronk. Cronk goes across. Thurston is there. Slater comes in. Hodges knocks on. And it's going to Tate, but it went forward off the arm. Play that. So that will be a scrum. And the Blues are going to make it to Queensland for the decider. This is an exciting moment if you're one of the Blues supporters or you're on the Blues bench, because it was like we'd seen it all before. They might be behind, but they're coming back and they're going to get you. 83,110 have seen this epic clash, and the Blues are going to stagger over the line. An injury-riddled Queensland in many ways have tried to come back and do what they've done so many times, but the Blues will win this scrum eventually. In fact, the clock will beat them to the feed. And the siren, I think Ben Cummins has said, I want the scrum. Referee said, I want the scrum.
Hop in properly. Get down. Hey, fuck this cut. Hey. Oi. Just play the ball. That's it.
So Pearce knows the only hope Queensland had was to actually put a big push on. New South Wales have won. Origin 2 by 4 points. 16-12. Coach Ricky Stewart obviously nerve-wracked and the brow furrowed, but he's got victory and he's got a chance to take them to Queensland and end the dynasty of Queensland. New South Wales have won Origin 2, 16-12 over Queensland.